Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andrew Siegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner and Dash Paulson to discuss the latest stage coming to Smash Bros Wii U based on Star Fox Assault. So let's get started. Alright guys, so whenever there's big news for Smash Bros, that means it gets its own discussion, and I think having the first confirmation of a Star Fox stage is pretty big news. And for the first time in Smash Bros, it's based on Star Fox Assault. And I should mention that we don't know for sure it's a stage, but we're pretty sure, but Sakurai does say he can imagine characters running along the top of it, and what else could this really be? But I guess one of the big questions is how is it going to play? Will it play like Corneria from Smash Bros Melee or even Smash Bros 64, or will it be something else entirely? But before we get to that, what's your guys' raw impression of seeing this stage?
No, I've been wanting to have a Star Fox stage for a while now. Those stages tend to be some of my favorites in Smash Brothers, and so it's such a relief to see it in here. I mean, you knew it was going to be in there, but I was always curious to see like what idea they were going to use. And you know, some could say it's like, oh man, they're not really changing things up with the Great Fox being yet again the stage for the Star Fox level, but there's something very classic. Like I said, the Star Fox levels tend to be some of my favorites for Smash Brothers, and to see it here again, maybe with a few tweaks here and there, I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, me too. And I actually wasn't that sure. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, there hasn't really been a new original Star Fox game in years. The last one was Star Fox Command. So, you know, I actually wasn't so sure. I mean, it would make sense to have another Star Fox stage, but the last original Star Fox game was Star Fox Command in 2006. And, you know, so it's been quite a while. So I wasn't totally sure we'd be getting a new Star Fox stage, especially because we've gotten so many new stages, and none of them were from kind of like those core, like, you know, Star Fox, Kirby, stuff like that. So I was a little worried. Super happy it's back, you know, to get a new Star Fox stage. I think the Great Fox looks amazing. It's never looked better. And, you know, I mean, it may be something that we've seen before, but honestly, like kind of like you said, Derek, the Star Fox stages tend to be kind of some of my favorite in Smash over the years, and I'm really looking forward to another one taking place in the Great Fox. When
I saw Sakurai's comment saying it's from Star Fox Assault, I'm like, ah, one of my least favorite Star Fox games. Then I saw the picture, and I'm like, this actually looks pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It looks really good. And I was also a big fan of the previous Star Fox stages. Pretty much all of them, really, whether it had the Great Fox or not. I thought they were all fun. One thing I'm wondering is this just going to be that same type of stage, though, just updated for, you know, with the Star Fox Assault visual style? You know, Sakurai himself mentions you'll be running along the top of it, which, you know, which makes sense. And they can even see R-Wing fighters flying around here, too. Suggesting there'll either be another stage hazard again, or maybe even hop on top of them like before. But I'm wondering if there could be more to it as well. Because in this picture you can see the Great Fox living what appears to be Ficina, or some planet of some kind. It looks like an ice planet, but either way, I'm wondering if maybe you'll actually visit these planets. Like, will you actually enter the atmosphere and actually fly through them? Kind of like how the Great Fox is flying through Corneria in Smash Bros Melee. So maybe it's along those lines, but it actually changes locations. And that just may be a background detail. Or maybe it goes even more in depth than that.
Well, I do think that they might need to try to do something to differentiate this stage from previous Star Fox stages, because we have had several stages now where you're just, you know, fighting on top of the Great Fox as it flies along. One, of course, was in space in Sector Z, and the other was on Corneria. So, kind of like you said, Andre, maybe it'll be kind of like a mishmash between the Lilac Cruise stage and Brawl, where you know, you would get these different backgrounds. It would kind of shift from background to background, except that it's going to be on the Great Fox this time. So maybe it'll be kind of like a combination of the old Great Fox stages with the background shifting of Lilac Cruise or something like that.
That'd be cool.
I guess the big question right away is, is it going to be more a stage more along the lines of Corneria, where you're fighting on the top of it and, you know, viewing the Great Fox from the side, or is it going to be more like Venom, where you're fighting on the wings and you're looking at the Great Fox from the front? That's the two different ways we've had to play with these. Play with the Great Fox before, or they could do something a little bit more dynamic, where you're sort of, maybe as it shifts and moves around space, you're actually going from the sides to the top and all over the place. Or even just take into account Andre's idea about the planets, maybe the planets will affect the Great Fox in some ways. So, like, we're leaving Ficina, right? Well, maybe if it's an ice planet, it freezes over the Great Fox, and all of a sudden things become a bit slippier.
Slippy.
Then you get to kill him, and everybody's happy. and just stuff like that, where like the planets you go to have an effect,
like different gravity.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I mean, you could really,
or like like solar, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you just take constant
the
damage.
elements. Oh god.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be any fun, but but yeah, just play with the elements a little bit, and that's, you know, that might be just a little bit too involved or anything like that. But it's an idea thrown out there to way to differentiate it. But if it doesn't differentiate it at all from the previous games, I still don't think I'll be upset, because like I said, these are some of the best stages I've, you know, in the games, at least in my opinion.
And it really does look gorgeous. Like, I'm looking at the picture now, and this is a beautiful looking stage.
It's got like the lens flare there, and you can even see how that sun is reacting on the planet's surface.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, and it does seem to be like a lot of detail if they're not used for anything else. But maybe you just go on a cruise around the galaxy. Like, at the least, it looks like you are going to be flying around, more so than you have in past games. So, Derek, you brought up a couple points there. One, yeah, if you are on the Great Fox, are you going to be fighting on top of it or on the wings? But the fact that Sakurai says you'll be running around on top of it makes me think that it'll be similar in vein to you know, the original and Corneria. I don't know, just because that's more running focus as opposed to when you're battling on the wings.
That's true. If there is a god, that'll be the case, because I hated that Venom stage in Melee.
I wasn't a huge fan of it either. In fact, I completely forgot it existed until one of you brought it up before we started discussing it.
And I really wish I hadn't been reminded of it, because I hated that stage.
Yeah, it was. I kind of agree. It was kind of annoying. So I guess actually I take it back when I said before, like all the Star Fox stages.
Yeah.
Because I did like them all except for that one.
Yeah, I never minded it that much. I found fun with it. I wouldn't say it's as good as like the classic fighting on top of, you know, the Great Fox, but I never minded the stage at all.
Now, one interesting thing, though, is regardless of what they decide to go with, I wonder what the sense of scale is going to be. Because the ship was massive in Smash Bros 64, whereas they shrunk it quite a bit for Smash Bros Melee and Brawl. And that, you know, that's assuming that you will be fighting it on the, you know, on top this time. Do you guys have any thoughts about that, you know, as to the scale they may use? Because unfortunately, there's nothing here we can use for reference.
It's kind of hard to, but it does. I think the ship looks sleeker and like more streamlined. So I think, to me, that makes it look smaller in my mind.
Huh.
See, I actually kind of look at it the opposite way. To me, that maybe it's just the way that it's framed, but it looks a little bigger to me. And it looks to me like it's going to have kind of a bigger sense of scale, and kind of maybe along the lines of the Coliseum from Fire Emblem, where it's just a really long horizontal stage. So from this shot, I get the sense that it's going to be bigger than Corneria in Smash Bros. Melee, and maybe more along the lines of the 64 version of the Great Fox in Sector Z. But like you said, Andre, it's kind of hard. We can't really draw any conclusive things from that.
No, not at all. But I would say I would personally prefer the larger size, simply because I really did like the original arena best, perhaps.
Yeah, I prefer it larger as well.
Yeah, and also it just makes more sense thematically too. I mean, you're playing on a space station basically. Why is Donkey Kong half the size of it in Melee?
That's true. It always felt way too small to me in Melee.
I think it's very interesting. Actually, it's kind of cute that they chose the look of the Great Fox from Star Fox Assault, since that is the one that Namco helped develop, and, well, they're helping out with Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Ooh, so that's true, actually.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, how fitting is that? So that's a nice little cute reference. But the other thing about these stages for a lot of people is the conversations that you could have in the game, just like having little, you know, Easter eggs here and there, just for the classic conversations, maybe get a little bit of information, and they always used the lineup from Star Fox 64. And as Ash was mentioning before, the lineup changed. This is before the conversation started, but the lineup changed in Star Fox Assault, where Peppy was retired and actually piloted the Great Fox, while Crystal took over as one of the pilots in the actual away team, along with Slippy, Fox, and Falco. So could that affect how these conversations start? Let's say Crystal's playable if she is in the ship, or at the very least, this would give a chance for Crystal to have a cameo in the game.
Well, the thing is, she actually already had a cameo in Brawl. Like, they already the Easter egg conversations in Brawl were already differentiated by which Star Fox stage you were on. So if you were playing Lilac Cruise, you would get conversations with people from Star Fox Assault. So Crystal, Panther, Leon, like all those people, all those characters had conversations in the Brawl stage for Star Fox. Whereas if you played on Corneria, the Melee stage, you would get conversations with that sounded more similar to the original voice actors from Star Fox 64, and they would be conversations between Falco, Peppy, and Slippy, and only them. So I think it's safe to say, because Brawl kind of set that standard, I think we'll probably get conversations in this stage between all the Star Fox Assault characters again.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. But it does make me wonder, though, along those lines, if we can expect other elements from Star Fox Assault to play a role here. I mean, I guess if you're visiting these planets, you'll probably be visiting the planets from that game. But is there even more? Are there other elements from the game you could imagine seeing here?
Well, I could see maybe the Aperoids making a cameo appearance, like maybe some Aperoid enemies, attack you as stage hazards, or Pigma becomes possessed by the Aperoids, kind of like taken over by the Aperoids during Star Fox Assault. So maybe Aperoid Pigma will come and say a few lines and attack you, or. I think there are a few things they could do in terms of stage hazards for Star Fox Assault, but the Aperoids were the main enemies in that game, so
right.
I think that could definitely happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we could even have a giant space battle in the background. Like as you go from planet to planet, maybe you can see things building up, and you can just see the fights with the Aperoids and all that stuff. I think it'd make for a cool background element because, Lilac Cruise was a lot of fun. It sort of changed up the structure of it, but I loved all the background elements in that stage. Just flying around, seeing the space battles, it was really cool. So to have elements of that in here as well, I'd be totally down for it.
But also, and this is taking a little farther, but there are 2 R-Wings in this stage, and that could signify that they're 2 Star Fox reps for Smash Bros. 4, depending on how much of a tinfoil hat you want to wear. So that's just something I noticed, but I'm wondering if this means that at the very least we could get a Falco or Wolf reveal later this week, possibly.
That'd be awesome. I think a lot of people would be in favor of that, and we do know they have to start burning through or announcing the rest of the characters soon, because it's not long until that game comes out for the 3DS in Japan.
No, it's only 57 days, and no, I don't have a countdown on my phone. What are you talking about? But no, I know obviously people will be upset at only 2 Star Fox reps, because I know no one wants either Falco or Wolf cut probably. So. I don't think that necessarily actually means anything, but it's just something to note.
But that does leave me with one more question. What do you think we could see for a Star Fox stage, or what would you want to see in a Star Fox stage on the 3DS? Because that's another platform we have heard almost nothing about, this series for. Is there anything in particular you'd like to see?
I guess the most likely candidates would be Star Fox 64 3D or Star Fox Command. Right. Personally, I'd like to see Star Fox Command, because it's very likely that we'll get a couple of past stages returning. Well, we're definitely getting past stages returning from Brawl, Melee, and maybe even 64. So, it's likely that we'll get a Star Fox 64 stage just based on the past stages that are returning. So I'd like to see something from Star Fox Command, because that's an often overlooked title in the series. And, it's one that isn't really referenced as much, and not as many people know about. So I think it would be cool to get a stage from that game, because it's a handheld game, of course. With Smash 3DS's focus on handheld games, it wouldn't be out of the question.
But so is Star Fox 64.
Exactly, and I'm hoping they don't pull the Ocarina of Time 3D route, with
right.
that, and kind of say, oh, it's a handheld game, because come on.
Right.
But so my vote, if it had to be anything, would be Star Fox Command. I don't really have a specific stage from that game. I just think it would be cool to have a reference to, what's probably the most overlooked title of the series.
I agree with Ash. I've never played Star Fox Command, but I'd still like to see representation from the game, just to mix things up, get some new ideas in there, and see what they can do with it. Because there's a lot they could still do with Star Fox 64, but I think it's just a little cooler to see them reference one of the lesser known games and introduce people to it and some of the ideas that it had, including myself, just because I know so very little about that game. So I think it'd be kind of cool to just get a little taste of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that'd be cool to have that game represented here in some way. And if they make another Star Fox level, if they put in 2 like they did with Melee, I'm gonna get some flack for this. I would like to see one based on Star Fox Adventures. I actually thought, that game was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was.
Probably one of the best looking GameCube games. And I think there actually is a lot of source material they could draw from to make a pretty cool stage.
Soria by itself is a pretty compelling setting.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they could even make that a planet you visit, as part of this stage, assuming, again, that's part of this level.
Yeah, but, Soria was in Star Fox Assault, so that's completely...
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so that's not out of the question at all.
All right, well, I think you do have one more thing you wanted to add, Ash, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to... I don't know how many of you listeners out there know that I am the editor for Udon Entertainment, but I'm actually in San Diego right now for San Diego Comic-Con, getting prepared for that, and I'm going to be at the Udon Entertainment booth, number 4529. So if any of you guys are going to be at Comic-Con, come and say hi, talk to me about some games, and I'd just love to say hi to you guys. So come by if you can.
Yep, I'd like to if I were there.
Same here.
and actually, if you guys don't know, maybe you missed the news, but Nintendo is hosting a Smash Bros 3DS tournament at the Nintendo Gaming Lounge at the Marriott, and I think Smash Bros Wii U is going to be playable too, along with Hyrule Warriors and other games like that. So if you didn't get a chance to play those games at E3 because you didn't get to go to E3, come play them here.
So you're calling in sick, Ash, so you can go play in the tournament?
Oh, I wish. I'm definitely taking a couple hours at some point, maybe on a break, to go just get in as many Wii U matches as I can, or 3DS matches. But yeah, if I could, I'd spend the entire time there playing Smash. But unfortunately, work calls, adult life calls.
Don't we know it? Alright, well I think that wraps it up for our Star Fox stage discussion, so thanks guys for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain, which you can find links to in the description below, so go away, keep up to date with everything we post, including, our end of the week Smash Brothers discussions, which I'm sure we'll have even more to talk about in the stage then, especially if Sakurai decides to reveal anything more. Of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com, and thanks for watching. Bye.